Hi there, welcome to my views and news. The news story. Firstly, it seems another assassination has been committed in the Amhara region, in a zone which is the most difficult zone for government officials, prosperity party members, police officers. Dozens have been assassinated in this zone alone by Fano fighters. Secondly, viewers, I want to talk a little about the plight of Eritreans. They're suffering everywhere. More than 150 have been arrested in Uganda. And lastly, viewers, Sudan. Sudanese parties, political groups met in Addis Ababa at African Union headquarters. Discussions were held and a statement was issued yesterday calling for the establishment of a new emergency government in Sudan. Will Al Burhan military agree with this suggestion? Let's start with first stories about assassination, one after the other. Assassinations ongoing in the Amhara region. Assassination ambush are two main targets, two main tools, deadly tools being used by Fano fighters against government forces, against government people, prosperity party officials. And I have covered almost all major assassinations in the region, starting from Garma Ishitala, the minister, senior of member of Amhara Prosperity Party, was assassinated last year in North Shore. It started in North Shore. First main assassination at the hands of Fano was committed in North Shore. And today's new story of assassination is also from North Shore. North Shore is the most difficult zone for government officials, police officials, prosperity party members in Shore. Robert, we've seen assassinations in other parts of Debre Birhan too, and several other towns as well. This time, Ansaro was targeted. Ansaro is a warada. It's a city in North Shore zone of the Amhara region. Ansaro police chief was assassinated by Fano fighters 2 days ago, reportedly. It is being confirmed to us by some sources. Whenever assassinations happen, government does not issue any statement. Sometimes local governments speak, but most of the time, no statements are issued. A few days ago, in Oromia Special Zone, the chief, the administrator, was shot dead. A woman was shot dead. And the local government accused Oromo Liberation Army of being behind this assassination. This assassination happened in North Shore Zone. No statement from any party so far, but reportedly it was Fano's operation against police in Saro. Fano groups have been warning police and militia members, riot police, strike force. They say don't be part of the forces which are conducting operations against Fano. Disassociate yourself, resign, go back to your homes. Otherwise, we'll fix you. This is what is happening. Second was Eritreans, the plight of Eritreans, the suffering of Eritreans is heartbreaking. Almost on daily basis, we receive reports of their suffering from some part of the world, while the man in power in Eritrea says that Eritrea is on the right track. It's a beacon of stability. It's a ray of hope for bright future for Africans. That it takes pride in being free from foreign aid, but its people, well, they're Eritrea, but they're Eritrean. Its people are suffering. More than 150 have been arrested in Kampala, Uganda in the last few days. It was confirmed by police chief in Kansanga. The arrests were made in Kansanga. Who were arrested? Eritreans operating businesses were arrested by police. They are refugees. They are not allowed to run businesses, but they were running businesses there reportedly. Uh, Running businesses at night, not in the day. In the day, they were refugees, and in the night, they ran businesses. Businesses, small businesses like saloons, like retail shops, etc. The police launched an operation, not just against Eritreans, others too. Uganda is one of the largest refugee population. It is hosting one of the largest refugee population in Africa. 150 arrested, more arrests are expected. Last week, I reported about the death of an Eritrean refugee in Ethiopia. He was killed in an attack by Amhara militia members. In Switzerland, asylum cases of Eritreans have been rejected. Swiss government wants to deport them to a third country. That's why I say Eritreans are suffering, whether they are in the country or abroad. If they're in the country, they have to be part of national service indefinitely. They don't have freedom to speak. They don't have access to information, no independent judiciary, no right to choose your leaders in Eritrea. Eritreans with hopes and dreams of bright future leave their country, risk their lives, but not all of them manage to reach Europe. They end up in Uganda, in Ethiopia, in Libya, in Sudan. They end up in the hands of armed smugglers, human traffickers. Ransom is demanded sometimes. And those who manage to reach Europe are then at the mercy of European governments. Their policy is becoming more strict with every passing day against refugees. If they don't get their asylum cases approved, they are at risk of deportation. Who is responsible? Are the Eritreans responsible or Eritrean government? Eritrean government. If a government does not have the capability to take care of its people, it has no right to be in power. It should be held accountable. But who will hold this government accountable? No one. If anyone questions the performance of the government, will he be allowed to remain free in Eritrea, or will he be thrown in prison? This is why I criticize Eritrean government, Eritrean president. I have no personal complaint against the president, against the government. Criticizing the government, criticizing the president does not mean that we are anti-Eritrea, we are anti-Eritrean people. No. When we see the suffering of Eritrean people, we cannot help criticizing the government, which has been in power for the last 3 decades, and it is not accountable to anyone. Lastly, viewers, Sudanese political groups met in Addis Ababa this week. For several days, they held discussions at African Union headquarters located in Addis Ababa. The groups issued a joint statement yesterday calling for the establishment of an emergency government in Sudan, which is the requirement of on the ground situation, by the way, because RSF and military both are in control of parts of Sudan. It's virtually split now. Only an emergency inclusive government can be formed to steer the country out of this crisis. So, by emergency government, we mean government with participation of RSF military and civilians too. Sudanese people removed Omar al-Bashir to take the country towards democracy, but that revolution was hijacked by military. And RSF became strong. It joined Al-Burhan. Al-Burhan Hamati ruled. Abdullah Hamdok was just symbolic prime minister. Even that symbolic prime minister was not acceptable to military and RSF. They tried to stage a coup against Abdullah Hamdok. He was put under house arrest, released, he resigned. The military, RSF, and strong civilian coalition should be the main players in this new emergency government. Let's see how Port Sudan and Darfur, RSF military, will respond to this suggestion.